me. Now we have audio. Okay, so I'm starting a few minutes early for those that have come in and those that do replay. I do want to start a little bit early. And today is Friday, May the 5th, 2023, and happy Cinco de Mayo. And I also want to make sure to let everyone know that today is also May the 5th National Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Men, Girls, our people, our families. And I feel like it's important to bring this. I have done some videos in the past and some lives in the past on the missing and murdered Indigenous people. For those that follow my channel or know me, do know that I do have a Native background, and I am very big about making sure that all people have a voice. So I do want to share a couple of different things that I did pull up. I do have a whole video and everything already, but I have been working full time and it's been kind of crazy. So I have not been able to do what I would normally do for today. All right. So let's pull up screen share. And I did not want to do that. Let's see. Probably next time I go live, for anybody that's coming in or rewatches, I will probably start using my Streamlabs because I'm not a fan of StreamYard. Okay, so hopefully that'll work. Make sure that's what it's pulling up here. What is going on? Share my screen. Technical difficulties. So we'll do it like this. This is fun, as long as it comes up. I cannot see chat this way. Perfect. But let's do a little bit of rearranging so that way if anybody does come in, I don't feel like I'm ignoring anybody. All right, so this link is actually in the chat, and this is the Office for Victims in Crime. This is the Department of Justice website. And today is Missing and Murdered Indigenous Peoples Awareness Day, May the 5th, 2023. You guys see the red hand everywhere, and we'll go on to Twitter here in just a few, and we will take a look at the reason for the significance of the red hand. All right, and MMIP Awareness Day is a time to renew our commitment and ensuring resources are available to solve missing persons cases in the tribal and Native communities and providing services to victims and their families. In his proclamation, President Biden states, on Missing and Murdered Indigenous Persons Awareness Day, we remember many lives are shattered and lost and commit to working Native communities for finding justice and keeping families safe and helping them heal. And then it has the website here. This is really what I want to share is the video here.
I see the faces of the women who haven't come home yet. Looking at, the impact of violence in our communities and the high rates of sexual violence, domestic violence, the high rates of trafficking, and the intersections with poverty and racism and homelessness and all of the things that make this issue, more challenging to address.
This is not just an Alaska Native and American Indian issue. This is a people issue.
There isn't just one story.
We had a young man in my community who was just amazing. And then at some point just disappeared. And they found him a year later in the flats. Every day. And we don't know what happened. We certainly don't know the circumstances, but there was serious suspicion of trauma and other things that may have happened. But every story's like that.
The reality is it can happen to any of us. These are important members of our community. These are our relatives, our mothers, our grandmas, our sisters, our aunties. This is not about something that the victim did. This is not about poor lifestyle choices. This is about a decision that the perpetrator made to cause harm to another individual.
How do we heal?
Healing comes when we have culturally specific tribal strategies to address healing.
Bringing families into a place where they're back to healing, and communities into a place where they're back to healing.
The Office for Victims of Crime is a federal agency that's dedicated to ensuring healing and justice for victims of all crimes.
Our perpetrators are coming from many different populations. We needed to have a venue where we could listen to tribes and we could hear what were the missing and murdered Indigenous person stories in their communities.
We have an obligation to work as hard as we can to make sure that the voices of tribal communities are heard and that we continue to listen.
The tribes came with incredible, heart-wrenching stories, but they also came with solutions and needs.
We need more coordination with law enforcement. On reservations, our jurisdiction is very complicated.
There are 229 tribes in the state of Alaska, and they cover an area of over 600,000 acres, which literally equates to about 20% of the continental US. Most of them are only reachable by plane or by boat. We have 80 communities that are just listed as having no law enforcement whatsoever. We're waiting hours, sometimes days, for somebody to show up.
There's such more to do. When a loved one is murdered or missing, it doesn't just impact the loved ones of that victim. It impacts entire communities. This trauma just doesn't go away.
When something happens, we're going to respond and we're going to report it. And we're going to stand up and say it's not okay.
And now in Minnesota, a huge win is that we have the first ever missing and murdered Indigenous relatives office in our state government. It's permanent funding. It will not go away.
People are talking to each other. People are discussing these issues. They are solving problems with each other.
We have heard from Indigenous women that they want services by Native women and for Native women. They need to know that they can come to us and that we are a safe space for them.
We've expanded our guidance so that we can provide the assistance that the families and loved ones of missing and murdered Indigenous people need, whether or not it's been determined that a crime has occurred.
It gives me hope to see our state, tribal, federal people that are responding to this issue.
What gives me hope is that I know that change is possible.
This job has been all about hope. The relationships that we've developed, the ability to have these conversations has been so important.
Working together and working hand in hand with our tribal partners, we will be able to put in place the change that needs to happen.
We have an incredible group of people coming up behind us who are going to keep pushing this.
And it really comes down to resilience. Our tribal people were incredibly resilient.
That always gives me hope.
Okay, so I'm going to stop that one and hopefully I can get my screen share to cooperate. And I really, really want to share my window, but I don't want it to freak out on me and go all like that. So let's see, is it going to share? See what it pulls up, guys. I may have to do it the other way. Cool. So it's going to work. Oh, that's not what I wanted. All right. So this is what I wanted to pull up. This is my Facebook, guys. This is Missing Posters of True Crime Sunshine. I did change my channel to Mind of Monsters because I feel like with my content, this is more along the lines of what I do is the Minds of Monsters, but the missing is still important to me. And it is very important to me to bring this information to you guys. So I did want to share a few of the posters. There are over 100 posters of the Native Americans and First Nation that are on this website, and I will include the link in the description. And what I want to show you guys is this keeps going and going. This list is so long. This is, like I said, I'm not doxing myself or nothing. This is my website that is my Facebook that has a lot of the posters and different cases and flyers and things. It is an open group, as far as I know. You can just follow it. And I do have a actual group as well. But this is kind of where they start, and it just keeps going and going. Most of these were made for the Navajo Nation. The FBI released a list of missing. There's also a lady that I follow here and that follows me and that we're friends on Facebook, and that's Trailing LMA. And her aunt LMA was one of the very first posters that I ever made. And I feel like it's very important to bring her up as well, because this lady walked across the United States in honor. I also feel like it's important to share what is being shared on Twitter. I know a lot of people don't support Twitter, or they don't have a Twitter. So these are a lot of images that are missed, and I feel like these are important to share with everyone as well. So I really want to share a few of these. Wear red. The reason we wear red is to be a voice. Red is also the color that is said to be what the spirits see. The red, here you go. This is a good one I want to share. It says, why red? In many tribes, red is known to be the only color that spirits see. By wearing red, we hope to call back the missing spirits of our women and children. And you'll also see the red hand over the mouth. That is not to silence. It means you will not silence. No more stolen sisters. And I did include the banners on the bottom. Does have some of the hashtags that you guys can follow these cases. I have 5 uploaded videos, and I would have to check how many lives. There may be 2 or 3 lives on there. I don't go live very often, that are about the missing Indigenous. And I also have the Highway of Tears, which is a video that I did about the missing First Nation in Canada. They also have a lot of missing that don't get the attention that they should get, that all people matter, all missing matter. And we need to be a voice for the voiceless. I know that I'm not on here as much as I used to be, and I don't, but like I said, I have a lot going on, and I do want to make sure that I do get my point across for things that I'm very passionate about. My door is always open to comments. My door is always open if you need help. I do still make flyers, guys. If you need a flyer or know someone that, for any reason, whether it's somebody that's wanted, missing, etc., I do make flyers for awareness purposes. I do follow a lot of really good channels still, and I want to say thank you, and I'm not going to send your name off everybody, for everybody that is still here for the right reasons and that does do their best to do everything for the right reasons. And like I said, normally, guys, I would have like a whole video put together, but I do have some really good videos that are older videos that I was going through, and it really makes me sad that one of them only has 9 views. And I really feel like this is very important subject that needs to be out there. These are beautiful people and a beautiful community that comes together, and they just want to be heard. They just want to be heard. The DNA Doe Project is another video that I did. It's an older video way down on my channel, but it's also one that I hold close to my heart. That video has a lot of really good information in it, and wonderful things are happening with the technologies that we have today. And on the other hand, horrible things happen with the technologies that we have today, but a lot of people don't have an understanding of what happens, and I like to tell people that the West never left the West. The Wild West will always be there. And this is not only the West, this is the East Coast Native as well, that we see a lot of missing and murdered cold cases, cases you never hear about, names you'll never see, faces you'll never see. And it's very sad and it's heartbreaking. And I feel like it's important to me and to my cause to make sure that I'm bringing these faces, I'm bringing these names, I'm making sure that they have a voice. And all I ask is that you be a voice as well. We can do so much good if we stand together. We're stronger together than we are apart. And I know the drama and the arguing brings views, but take into effect that if we all came together, the force that we would be together. We could do so many amazing things. There's so many faces and families that they don't get to lay down with their loved one tonight. They don't have a place to go to a cemetery and say their goodbyes, or just need someone to maybe listen that was always there to listen because their loved one never got brought home. That's why we always ask, if you see something, say something. And something else I'm going to start asking is, if you have a family member that you know is in trouble or that's struggling and you haven't heard from them, reach out. Reach out and make sure they're okay, because the world we live in today is not the world we grew up in, guys. Not if you're my age. Like I said, I wasn't going to make this a super long live because I don't have a lot of content ready. I've been working a lot and I do have a lot going on. So I apologize, but I did want to make sure that I brought my 2 cents to today. And being, like I said, a descendant of Native American family that was instilled in me as a young child, and I've instilled in my children to always know where our roots come from. But I do thank you for watching. As always, guys, it takes a village to raise a child. If you see something, say something. Never give up.